10 years ago, the Earth was destroyed, blown to pieces by rockets that came from the moon, a product of a sick man's twisted desire for power. Now, nothing but death and decay remain. In the distance, 4 survivors hear the sound of a bus honk. Abigail Misty Brierton, a farm girl. Marlton Johnson, a genius, albeit annoying man. Samuel Stuhlinger, a conspiracy theorist and ex-member of the Flesh. And Russman, an old man who happens to be an ex-member of an American facility called Broken Arrow. This ragtag group of survivors must traverse this landscape in order to survive. So, hesitantly, the 4 leave the safety of the bus depot to travel and stay on the move. They could go into the fog, but doing so would be a death sentence. They decide to stick to the bus, a cramped, dark place where the dead can latch onto and rip it to shreds. A place that is supposed to be the pinnacle of safety is nothing more than a slightly safer death trap. The survivors make it to a diner after the passage through the dark, unforgiving fog. They think they saw something in the distance, but they can't be too sure. The diner itself isn't much better than the bus depot. There's an eerie message that seems conveniently targeted at them, and lava sprawling all over the ground. This place is perhaps even scarier than the bus depot. But good can come from even the worst scenarios. They construct a shield out of a rusty car door and a construction dolly, an extra layer of protection at the cost of leaving their turbines. Not knowing if they are going to need it again, they keep the turbine for now. After a few spins on the magic box that seemingly gives them weapons out of thin air, the bus honks, a threat to leave them stranded. Hesitantly, they leave and head back into the ash and soot-filled fog. The fog is dense, perhaps even denser than it was before, but eventually they can make out a building in the distance. A farm. A dark, desolate place that once, no doubt, held life. It's nothing more than a husk now, though, devoid of the usual plant life that would make a farm, well, a farm. It is creepy, eerie even. The survivors decide not to spend much time here. The feeling of death seems to hang over this region the most. So, after a quick bus ride, they make it to what appears to be a power plant. Bright, and quite a different atmosphere than before. The power station is almost blinding with its bright lights. After building the power switch and turning it on, they witness something that makes their blood run cold. A being of pure electricity begins to emerge from the container behind them. Because of them, it breaks free, and they are left to wonder what they just unleashed onto the world. It was caged for a reason, right? Best not to think of it for now. They leave the power station to find that the bus, being driven by an automated driver, is gone. The robot must not know when someone is actually on the bus to ride, so the survivors are left with 2 options. Risk getting overran and killed in the power station while they wait for the bus to make a whole loop around, or brave the fog and whatever it holds in the darkness on foot. They decide the latter. As they are walking through a fog so thick that they cannot even see 2 feet ahead of them, they are ambushed. Little things that are not natural. They scratch at your faces, blinding them and slowing them down. With an ear-splitting screech, they latch on and will only leave if they either kill you or are killed themselves. The fog is dangerous, but the survivors prevail, making it to the next and final stop, the town. A lava-infested landscape where zombies seemingly come from everywhere. But it's not all bad. Hidden in the bank vault, there is a machine that you can place your weapon into to make it stronger, and even a drink called Juggernog, which can supposedly make you stronger. They board the bus one more time and are taken back to the bus depot for them to start the entire loop all over again. This is TranZit, a map with an atmosphere and feel so unique that not even 13 years after its initial release has not been replicated. A map that preys on your fears so wholly. Claustrophobia, with many tight, cramped corridors and areas, including the area that is supposed to be your salvation, the bus. Zombies can overrun it quick, making it feel as if you were being suffocated alive. The fear of the unknown, especially for first-time players. The map itself is huge, and you don't know what you're getting into. The first time I played TranZit, I didn't even want to leave the bus depot, much less anywhere else I ended up, because I didn't know where I would be going. And that made me uneasy. In other maps, you have a sense of where you are and where you will go, because they are all part of one big thing. But TranZit? It's split up into several sections that a first-time player has no way of knowing where they will end up. Can force someone's mind into running wild with possibilities. to think before recklessly running into the next area, or what lurks in the fog if you dare to traverse it. It's an unease that can't really be replicated because it's your own mind that's making it. Even loneliness is tied into this map. It is so big and yet so devoid of life, it's hard not to feel alone at times, isolated from anyone else as you brave the undead apocalypse. It doesn't even help that the fog itself restricts your sense of sight, making you feel even lonelier than you would have otherwise, simply because you can't see past it. The map itself is a masterclass in psychological horror. A map where the horror itself is from your own mind, spurred on by your own thoughts and actions. Psychological horror is oftentimes credited to be the best type of horror, so that only adds to the merit. The loneliness, the unknown, it can spur your mind, manipulate it into thinking something really bad is about to happen, or even just make you feel uneasy, which is a hard thing to get right. Honestly, with all of the maps in Call of Duty Zombies, I would be quite comfortable putting TranZit in the top 5 or maybe even the top 3 scariest zombies maps due to these psychological elements in it. And while it is very great at one thing, that doesn't mean it's good at other things. It's time to discuss the big, bus-sized elephant in the room, the glaring issues of the map. When TranZit was created in 2011 and 2012, Jimmy Zielinski, the head director of the mode at the time, wanted a map like no other, an expansive sandbox type of map. But because this was being made on the hardware of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, you aren't going to get much power out of those. And what was left is a map that was gutted of what it was supposed to be. And, oh boy, can those be unbearable at times. For starters, the bus. Not only is it an absolute death trap on later rounds, but it literally leaves when it wants. There is no way to dictate when it will move, and if you're doing anything mildly important, the bus decides that is just the perfect time to leave. If you want to walk around the map without the bus, too bad. If you so much as walk, we will set your ass on fire. You want to walk in the fog? Good luck seeing. There are gremlins that want to cause permanent facial disfigurement and will attack you every 5 seconds unless you use your ammo, which is most likely running low already because you're 5 miles away from the box and the nearest wall gun, and you have to use your knife. If you so much as get touched by one of these little rats, you die, especially if you're being chased by a horde or in lava. Good job, Treyarch. The boss is absolutely abysmal at times, only being damaged by melee weapons or your EMP grenades, and is incredibly annoying to get 360 no-scope by an electric man 20 miles away and down because you can't see. The buildables on this map are useless unless you're using a turbine and the zombie shield. And if you want to open up Pack-a-Punch, you have to use the turbine. You have to run to Bus Depot, grab one if you didn't already have one, and then either wait for the bus, which is most likely as far away as physically possible, or you run through the fog. You get to the power station, you place down the turbine for a chance at Pack-a-Punch. Yeah, this isn't guaranteed. If you fail, you have to repeat the entire 5-minute quest again. And yet, that's not even the worst offender. The biggest offender on this map is the Thrustodyne Aeronautics Model 23, aka the jet gun. A wonder weapon that theoretically does infinite damage, but it is a pain to use and is almost never worth it unless you're doing the Easter egg or in an absolute sweat that can muster up the patience to play this map for more than 40 rounds. How do you build the jet gun, you may ask? Good question! I'll answer it right now. You run to the tunnel, you pick up a part, you go back to town. You run to the power station, you pick up a part, go back to town, run through the cornfield into a secret area and find Nocturne Toten, pick up the part, go back to town. Go to the other secret area, the cabin, pick up a part, and go back to town. After you find all 4 of these pieces, you finally have the gun, and now, if you so much as have the gall to use it for more than 10 seconds, it breaks. Oopsies, now you have to run the entire thing again if you want to high round this map. Isn't that fun? Future editors are here. I have no idea where that anger came from. I don't remember being that angry when I made this. I swear I don't hate TranZit. I don't know where that came from. Bro. No, everyone's gonna think I hate the map now. No. Okay. Let's take a step back for a second. TranZit is a mess of a map. That's actually an understatement. TranZit is completely terrible when it comes to game design. But I think with a few changes, it could actually end up becoming more fun and more balanced in terms of said game design. You know, maybe we could make the bus a pay-to-move transportation, kind of like the gondola from Shadows of Evil. You pay 100 points or so, and the bus moves to its next location on a cooldown. And to deal with the lava, we could bring back PhD Flopper, or maybe an entirely new perk that would negate lava. I don't think we should actually touch the denizens though, or else we open up a whole new problem with the map becoming so easy that anyone can hide around it. The fog areas are so open that it would actually become a snooze fest to play the map, so I actually don't mind the denizens. Use your knife. If you so much as get touched by one of these little rats, you die, especially if you're being chased by a horde or in lava. Good job, Treyarch. TranZit has its issues, more than its fair share, and yet I always find myself coming back. Perhaps it's just the atmosphere, or the nostalgia, or the horror aspect, or maybe I just enjoy it more than I'd care to admit. I almost always come back and have a blast, especially with friends. This isn't a perfect map, by any means, and really, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a map that seems to have grown on a lot of people, and for good reason. It's fun at times, and has some genuinely good ideas in there. Would I say it's a top 5 map of all time? No. No, not even close. Would I say the map is enjoyable? Yeah. Even if it is annoying a lot of the time. This is a map that tried to innovate, failed, and perhaps became even more memorable for failing, even if it's for the wrong reasons, and for that, it has earned a special place in my heart that no other map can really match. TranZit is a map that is so broken that it's charming. And that is not a map or title that any other map can hold. I'm currently trying out a new style of content, so feel free to give me any criticism in the comments. I would love to hear people's thoughts and just get better as a content creator. As, you know, I'm quite new and have no idea what I'm doing or where I'm gonna go with my channel. With that said, I am Sarcasm, and I will see you in the next one.